When you think about military legends, you probably think of overwhelming force, right? Huge battles, massive armies. But this story, well, it's the complete opposite. We're going to talk about a pretty special infantry battalion in the Bangladesh Army, one that has a nickname that honestly will send a shiver down your spine, the Invisible 17.
And yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? How does an entire battalion, we're talking over 800 soldiers, just become invisible? I mean, this isn't some tiny four-man special ops team. This is a huge group of people. So how does a force that big simply vanish? It sounds like something straight out of a movie. But as we're about to find out, this wasn't movie magic. It was a reputation they earned the hard way, with some serious skill and discipline.
Okay, so where did a name like the Invisible 17 even come from? Well, it wasn't just handed down from some office. Nope, this name was forged out in the field. It was born from a mix of total frustration and just pure awe during one of the country's most intense military exercises. This, right here, is where the legend begins.
So to really get this, we need to rewind a little bit. The 17th East Bengal Regiment, or EBR for short, got its start back in 1974, not too long after Bangladesh became independent. But the key moment, the thing that really made them famous, happened in the 1980s during these massive war games. That's when they carved out this unique identity that they would eventually take all around the world.
So try to picture this, okay? You've got this huge divisional-level war game. Two big forces going against each other. Commanders huddled over maps, umpires trying to track every single move. The 17th EBR gets a pretty standard assignment. Go infiltrate the enemy territory. Simple enough, right? Except what they did next was anything but standard. It was basically this brilliant three-part plan. First, and this is wild, they used the natural terrain so perfectly that they literally just vanished off the map. Gone. Then, the real genius move, they went completely radio silent. You have to remember, in these exercises, everyone is constantly chattering on the radio. It's how they're tracked. By going quiet, they became ghosts. And then, the finale, the big surprise, they didn't just pop up over the next hill. No, they reappeared deep behind enemy lines, having somehow slipped past every single defense without anyone noticing.
And that's the exact moment the legend was born. You've got this high-ranking general just staring at his map, and he is completely stumped. An entire battalion is missing. And you can just imagine him, in this mix of frustration and just sheer admiration. He reportedly exclaims, "They must be the Invisible 17. And just like that, the name stuck.
Look, having a cool nickname from a training exercise is great, right? But it's one thing to do it in a simulation. It's a whole other challenge to apply those skills when the stakes are real. And that's exactly what the Invisible 17 did. They went on to prove that their stealth and discipline were deadly effective, both at home and on the global stage. And they really proved their worth in two totally different arenas. At home, in the dense mountainous jungles of the Chittagong Hill Tracts, their mastery of stealth was an absolute game-changer for counter-insurgency. I mean, they could move unseen, gather intel, and turn the enemy's terrain advantage against them. But then you flip the coin. On the international stage, that exact same quiet discipline made them a model UN peacekeeping force, great at de-escalating tense situations and bringing stability to volatile regions. And man, their global resume is pretty stacked. They've been all over. You've got UN missions in Liberia, in South Sudan, the Congo, Lebanon. They were even in Kuwait after the Gulf War, doing demining work. The 17th EBR has really represented Bangladesh across the globe, earning this reputation for quiet, effective professionalism. So all this talk about ghosts and invisibility, you're probably picturing some kind of super secret Black Ops unit, right? Well, let's pull back the curtain a little bit on what the battalion actually looks like. The reality of their structure is probably not what you're expecting. First off, let's talk numbers. We are talking about roughly 850 people. Let that sink in. This isn't a small, clandestine team. This is a full-strength infantry battalion with rifle companies, a support company, and all the logistics that go with it. To make a unit this size invisible is just a testament to some incredible training and coordination. And here's the other key thing to get. These guys aren't some rogue operators. They are a totally formal part of the Bangladesh Army with a standard military structure and pay scale. Just like any other unit, they're professionals within a conventional force who have simply cultivated an unconventional and extraordinary capability. So this whole story, it's actually bigger than just one battalion. The legacy of the Invisible 17, What they accomplished? It ended up influencing the tactical thinking of the entire Bangladesh army.
And it all comes down to this core idea, this ethos they have, professional silence. It's this belief that true excellence doesn't need to be loud. It's about performing the most difficult tasks with quiet competence and without seeking any fanfare. For them, success is measured by the missions completed, not the headlines generated.
This whole philosophy is captured perfectly in their unofficial symbol, the ghost tiger. See, the whole regiment's symbol is the Bengal tiger, a powerful animal. But for the 17th, it's more specific. They're the ghost tiger. It really drives home their whole identity. The most dangerous predator is the one you never see coming.
Which kind of leaves us with a really interesting question, especially for today, right? In an era of satellites, drones, and constant surveillance, we tend to think that technology is the ultimate advantage. But the legacy of the Invisible 17 suggests something else, that perhaps the most powerful weapon of all is the ability to remain unseen, unheard, and totally underestimated.